My name is Calvin, and today I'd like to talk to you about how the U.S. likes to spend their budget. So, in my creation, as you can see, I drew a $100 bill in the middle, and there's a tank in the middle. That's because they're the ones that have the most budget. And so we spend trillions of dollars every year, and yet we already have the most powerful force in the whole world, pretty much. And all this needed spending is taken away from other goods and services. I mean, like healthcare. People are getting refused treatment because they can't afford the bills, the hospital bills. And insurance companies are only there for you to be denied. They're only there to deny you treatment. I mean, unless you make the boku money, which is only the top 1% of the society. So why do we need to keep spending more money on the military? So I also put an Apple building right here. That stands for the corporations. Our capitalist society is all about making money, regardless of, you know, human rights, I guess you could say. People working long hours, barely getting paid the minimum wage. Some people are getting overworked. Even now, the essential employees, because of COVID-19, are getting paid much less than people that are on unemployment. And it sucks. And when the US created a stimulus to try to help everyone, civilians only get like $1,200. Corporations, they get millions of dollars. For what? For people that already have their lives set, that they don't need any more money. But of course, greed's a real bitch. But our society also relies heavily on debt. We have the notion of like, okay, buy now, pay later. And all of that hurts the economy because we are the ones owing a bunch of people that we don't even make enough to even pay off our debt. And student debt, that's why there's an education outside the dollar bill, is probably one of the most, the that debt contributes most to the national debt. And we, as a society, do not, I guess, care about students because, believe it or not, there's still racism, there's still segregation, and, umping up the cost of school makes it impossible for people to rise up their social class. I mean, people that are living in the ghettos are trying to make a better name, better life for themselves, and they can't because this policy, you gotta have this, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, and people can't, so they end up dropping out of school and they had to go to work so I can pay the bills, and it sucks. I mean, now I guess we have more progression, and that we will be able to have 2 years free for the incoming freshmen at junior colleges, and that's great. That's progress. But still, people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for the education, and yet the jobs that they end up getting barely make 50,000. So, like, I guess, what is the whole point of getting the higher education if you're only gonna work at a job that pays not even half of that debt? It sucks. It really does. And on this side, I drew Earth because as a capitalist society, who gives a fuck about the environment, right? And it sucks because this is the place that gives us life, and yet we take advantage. I mean, our CO2 levels are on the rise because all the smog, the factories, it's all too much. I mean, yet cars, everyone wants a car now. And since we relied so heavily on the oil industry and all the gas emission, that it's gonna be hard for us to get out of it. Because I know I learned in class that about the Green New Deal, actually a video on the Green New Deal, saying that they need to cut the cost of oil emissions, like gas emissions, by 50%, and that's a lot. That means no cars, no factory work. Doesn't mean new jobs, new way of living. And since we are so reliant, it's going to be hard for us to get away from that. And the estimated time that we have left to save the earth is 12 years. And it seems so far away, but it really isn't. We're already halfway through 2020. And honestly, I think all this COVID-19 could have been avoided if we were just take care of, our place, our environment first. I mean, maybe this might have been a reset, or who knows. I mean, I'm just praying for the people that are, affected. This whole thing affecting families, and it sucks. And it's dumb just because that we as a society, the US was not prepared for any of this. I mean, Donald Trump, literally like a month before this whole outbreak, he fired the head of the CDC. And that is why it's outside of the money department. And I mean, the president talked about how coronavirus is a joke. And guess what? Spread all throughout America. I don't know what's gonna happen. I know there needs to be a lot of changes, and I feel like our generation will be able to change a lot of things. We're more of the progressive side. So I want to be able to have my kids to have a future. I want to see them grow up. I don't have to worry about all this, and hopefully things will finally come around, and we'll see. So now it's our time to change, because with all this stimulus packages and all that, that's going to be so bad for the economy later, and we're going to be the ones to solve it. So we got to educate ourselves and be prepared for what's to come in the near future. Thank you for you guys' time, for your time, Miss Joy, and stay safe out there. And I guess that's my presentation. Thank you for watching, class listening, and stay safe again.